You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, Power Man, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today, we're gonna have some fun, baby. We're talking indie comics. Let me tell you, this one's a doozy, baby. I had some fun reading it. Blessings to the creator for allowing me to read this fantastic book that's gonna be kicking off on Kickstarter real soon. All right, the book is called Fisticuffs, and boy, oh boy, wait till you learn about this world, man. So I got the big brains, the illest creator, the big boss right now, this future superstar, the one, the only Mr. Fred Schwartz, baby. How you doing?
After that introduction, I don't think I could be any better, Al. Thank you for having me, man. That was fantastic.
Man, you're a big boss, man. Let me tell you, thank you again for being on the show and allowing me to read the first two issues. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I did not expect any of this, so I'm normally not surprised. Okay, I see where the story's going. Woo, Fred, great job for on both issues. I was like, whoa, I'm like, what the heck? Okay, my man, you throwing us stories, some fun stuff that's in the comics, that's storytelling with beautiful art. So we're gonna learn all about the world of Fisticuffs in a sec, but before we do all that, Fred.
Yes, sir.
Tell them folks where you were originally from, and most importantly, what is the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Well, I'm originally from Hamilton, New Jersey, just outside of Trenton, and if I'm going to go with the first thing I ever fell in love with fandom, and it's crazy because I was just watching the movie version of this right before we started, it would have to be He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. When I was a kid, like Toys R Us was heaven, man. My mom would, when we were, did something right or something good, we went to Toys R Us and loaded up on the He-Man figures. I had every one. That show was my favorite. I think you can't tell to look at me now, but I used to have blonde hair. And I think that identification of seeing a dude that had blonde hair like me, I was like, well, I feel like He-Man. And I identified with that, and the Masters of the Universe Dolph Lundgren movie was on just a minute ago, and that was something special. I mean,
that's one of those movies, Fred. First of all, awesome. I was a big fan, of He-Man as well. And yeah, when it comes to that movie, I know people say it's not the best, this, that, the other. I get it, but it's still one of those movies that when it's on, you just stop what you're doing.
Hell yes.
No matter what point in the film it's in, you start watching it,
It was on one of those Prime channels, and I just stopped for 2 seconds, and the next thing you know, it's like I'm back to being a kid with Gwildor and the fried chicken and the synthesizer, and none of it works, but it all works at the same time. It's fantastic, and I still love Dolph Lundgren. He was one of my first, that dude's a movie star, when I was a kid. Again, now I look back and fresh eyes.
The choices they gave him that. They gave him the Punisher.
His Punisher was fun as hell.
It was fun, but my name is Frank Castle.
Yeah, I don't know who tried to get him to speak. That was just a bad idea.
He could have done some voiceovers on Homie at least to give, because he had the look, sure.
Yeah, and the action in that movie is fun as hell. And Louis Gossett Jr. is badass. I love him. I try to tell my friend. I have a friend that I work with now who's in his 20s, and he don't know. He does not understand.
Tell him to watch Enemy Mine with Louis Gossett Jr. Remember that?
I didn't see that one, but I just mean the superhero stuff. He grew up in a world where the Raimi Spider-Mans always existed. He doesn't know what we had to grow up with in terms of live action. It was brutal.
Fantastic Four, Roger Corman with the stiffest arm I've ever seen.
I mean, Spider-Man, the 70s Spider-Man going up the buildings.
Right, going up. Not just that, he's on the roof. No one is there. What are you like sneaking around, just doing this all the time? You're never gonna get like people about getting shot, and he's over there being creeping for no reason. I don't understand.
It was a hard thing, but that's what I love about it, right? Like that's
what was good.
What? Oh yeah. And Wonder Woman 75, 77 or whatever it was, that was phenomenal for what it was. I mean, they got a lot of things right, but there were some bad ones along.
What did you think about the Hulk and the Hulk version of Thor that they had, the TV Thor? Remember him?
So, dude, when I want to chill out, that is one of my go-tos, right? Like you're doing now. When I used to be a big drinker, I used to love like pounding beers and watching that scene where Thor's pounding beers in the bar and like out drinking all the people. Phenomenal. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can't take those things too seriously. Like, it's all people get up in arms nowadays about like this adaptation ruins this character. No, they don't. They survive. You just got to take them for what they were. Some are good, some are bad, some work, some don't. I love bad comic movies as much as I love the great ones.
I mean, all right. So before I ask you the next question, I got to ask you this though. Talking about these old school comic movies, what did you think? Of Ben Affleck's rendition of Daredevil?
So,
deep breath, anyway. Be fair.
Yeah, like that's a hard one for me because Daredevil's probably my favorite comic book character. Like my favorite comic of all time is Born Again. Like I think that's like,
dude, what a great fucking series. When I got my hands on that, I was like, oof. Back in the day, monthly, yeah, bro.
It's actually like that was kind of the inspiration in some ways for like Fisticuffs of just kind of trying to tell like a heavy emotional like personal story with like fun stuff going on around it and stuff. And I still think that's maybe I still think that in the top 3 superhero pieces ever. Like I love that. So I discovered Born Again in like 2001. So when Daredevil the movie came out, I was really hopeful, man. I was, going to my local movie theater. I was getting all the posters. I was ready. I still have a Ben Affleck Daredevil action figure in my room, like 12 foot tall. All the stuff I've sold over the years, I've hung on to that because there was enough shit in that movie that I loved that it was like Daredevil for me. But no, it's not good. It's not good. He is. You can tell he doesn't feel it. He's not right in that role. Like he's not right. Elektra is not Elektra. Colin Farrell didn't even try. He's like, I'm not going to even do an American accent. They're like, fine, fuck it, be Irish. We don't care. And
but isn't that crazy when you see Colin Farrell now doing Penguin, and he, like that. So he could have really murdered that role.
He can act. He can act, but not in that one. But the one thing that I did love that was like legit good, like could have been something else and somewhere else, was MCD's Kingpin. Like I love Michael Clark Duncan. I always loved him and just about everything he did.
Yeah, rest another guy gone too early, man.
Yeah.
But R.I.P. man. We mentioned so many folks that passed down. Rest R.I.P. Yeah. So let's get back to you and your geekdom. So growing up, did you have a tribe of fellow geeks in your fandom too, or are you kind of a lone wolf?
Well, it was. Like comics, right? Like it goes in fashion, it goes out of fashion and stuff like that. So my first geekdom was like Masters of the Universe. Around the same time, I really got into, what do you call it? Super Friends and the superpowers and stuff. And then like stuff like hit that was just awesome around that time. So like, I was a kid, but like 89 Batman, X-Men 97, the original like X-Men animated show, like all that stuff, like it was so cool. So like, yeah, I had like some friends at school, like we used to, I had an arch nemesis, somebody that always had the better stuff than me that I had to argue with. Like he had the special Death of Superman with the black bag that now everybody has, but back then they were rare. And he had it under like 2-inch plastic screw down and like would bring it into school to show everybody off. And like, he was like my Bizarro, I was in the Wolverine, he like Sabretooth, So
listen, I had motherfuckers in school just like that, trying to show off. And then I was like, I don't like to do that, but I kind of hate that you're trying to embarrass all my boys I'm gonna bring something tomorrow. Let me show you up, motherfucker. Shut up.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that was the cool. Like, I mean, yeah, there was like, you know, I have to like go back and think about it, but yeah, there was absolutely like a network at that time, right? Like we were really into like trading all the Impel cards and trading our books and stuff. Like that stuff was amazing. Like, you know,
man, it was about the culture fandom. That to me was culture fandom. It wasn't about, oh, let me sell these books for $1 million and shit. You know, it's just, you know, let's trade, let's learn. Because that shit was inspiring, right?
Yeah,
I figured out around that time. Oh, these are people making these. Oh, I could write. You could draw. You could color. And you and your boys, whatever. I would do that shit on some of my boys. You know, that was fun shit.
Al, I'm going to show you one day too, man. I made one of my first books I ever made. We made like an ABC book. You know what those were in like school, where you go through and like ABC, and each letter you write like a little like couplet, and then you draw a picture. So that was like kind of like my first comic book. And being that I'm from New Jersey, come here, buddy. The first one I did was like The Adventures of the Philly Fanatic. And I tied him into like all these different like pop culture things. And I made my own comic book where like he was, and I got in trouble for it at school for doing one where he was like fighting the Mortal Kombat characters, but it was like all the other mascots, and he had the ones like spinal cord dangling. And, but yeah, like all that stuff was like, it was a great time to like fuel creativity. Like I still remember, like I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house, and my favorite thing to do would be just sitting on her living room where we would have like comic show or like wrestling or something on the TV, and we'd have our toys in the living room, and I'd be drawing pictures and comics and magazines everywhere. Like it was like a whole world right before you, you know, and like kids today have that, you know, with their tablets and stuff, and that's cool. But man, like, you know, that living room floor with like, I got my wrestling ring and my guys over here. I got Thanos battling the Avengers over here, you know, like it was special, you know, and it carried me through. And then there was like a little lull, I would say, probably frankly, when like Marvel was like collapsing in like the late 90s. I think I honestly, and I hate to be this guy that like stopped collecting so hard, but like when they started doing all those like Onslaught crossovers and stuff, man, it was it was hard. You know, you miss like a week or two, and like then you're like missing issues, and the story doesn't gel, and like, you know, that was like going down. And then Batman and Robin came out, which is now one of my favorite movies, but at the time it kind of felt like my, you know, the stuff that I loved was not, you know, being taken seriously in a way. And then also at the same time, like I was still a geek, but I was like more into wrestling and stuff, like because you had the Attitude Era and stuff like that. That like captured my imagination. And then, of course, and then X-Men came out, hit at the box office, and then I was right back into it. I started going back into all the, you know, all the things going on. So when I discovered all the Daredevil stuff that became like, you know, religion to me. Yeah, Frank Miller, man, like I, you know, huge disciple of Frank Miller. Even the Daredevil, it's funny you mentioned the Daredevil movie, because that DVD has some amazing special features, including like interviews with all the creators. And if you watch just the Frank Miller portion, man, like there's a lot of stuff to learn there about like how to tell stories and stuff. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, people get at Frank now. He still draws out there. You know, yes, it may not be his best work, but folks, he's older. You know, things change. You know, again, art is, you know, it's up to the builders. Stop talking shit.
Yeah. Also, look at his art, right? It's evolved over time. Like it used to be that very like I want to say like Will Eisner style, kind of more traditional and stuff. Then he started doing more his own thing with like Sin City and the Dark Knight stuff. And like, this is just an extension of that. Like, I don't see, like, you know, people want to hate on it and stuff like that, but they don't actually. Cool story, Fisticuffs related, right? Like one of the best days of my life, there was a little signing of Frank Miller and Dan Didio not far from here. I think it was, I want to say it was Coliseum of Comics, you know, it's like an hour and a half away. I drove out there, and the guy like let me be the last one to, you know, get my signing before they broke for lunch, and I shared Fisticuffs with him, and they actually took it home with them, the binder of all my stuff that I had. And then like a year later, I was at MegaCon, and I ran into Frank there, and I was like trying to like get to the line, you know, and I missed his line, but I was like, oh, well, you know, just wanted to give him a physical copy because he read this before. He remembered me and remembered Fisticuffs, and they like brought me to the front, and he like asked me to sign it. Like still a like awesome dude, and that was like if you could tell me like watching that DVD feature at the same time, like one day like that dude would think something of your work, like
yeah, bro.
Here.
Yeah, I get that. So all right, so let's get into the creative lane, man. Like,
yes.
what happened here? What was the day that sparked your interest in just wanting to do something?
It was a weekend. It was one weekend. It was Kevin Smith, really, the filmmaker who got me started. There was one weekend where I watched Dogma, and it captivated my imagination. I went to the video store, and again, trusty old grandma. We sat and we watched Clerks and Mallrats together, and then in that weekend, I was hooked, and I went out and bought all the DVDs. And the more you learn about Kevin Smith, you learn his story. He's from our neck of the woods, Red Bank, New Jersey. He was a guy just like Fisticuffs, I always wanted to try to just make one thing that encapsulated me and put it out there and see what happens, because I was following the Clerks model, right? We all tend to chase our heroes a bit. So yeah, Kevin Smith made me feel like it was doable. And I think it was Brian Bendis and Powers that made me kind of expand what I thought the kind of stories that I could tell with a comic, because I didn't read a lot of Vertigo stuff until later, until mid to late 2000s. When I was a kid, that stuff was still too sophisticated for me. So when I caught Powers, and another great one, Garth Ennis and Amanda Connor's The Pro.
Oh man, damn! You mentioning genius stuff here. The Pro and Powers is fire. Did you even see the show?
Oh yeah, I love the show. I mean, I wish it wasn't the comic, but it was fun. Still cool. Yeah, it was fun. That's what I mean.
Characters come to life, though.
Yeah, I would have loved the Christian Walker that we know, but what can you do? It's fine. It was great. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, those things kind of expanded my mind of what I can do with a comic and stuff. And the Pro, I love the Pro. I use that as my gateway drug. Whenever people are nah, I don't like comics, or there's, at least before The Boys and all that stuff became mainstream and stuff. When people thought comics were just, 50 Superman, whatever, I would be okay, try this out and see if you don't like it. And usually they would get the Pro, especially the airplane scene. Once they got to that, I can know if I can be friends with you or not. If you like the airplane scene, we're cool. If you don't get it, you probably aren't going to like me anyway. So
we're going to get into something later, boys and girls. Oh my God. Anyway, can't wait to talk about this stuff. All right. So taking the deep dive and putting work out there, what happened, and how did you even build a team? How did you know what to do?
Right. So that was a learning curve too. Because I treated writing, I started writing when I was young. I was doing scripts for comics and screenplays and all kinds of stuff, but I was keeping it to myself. And I look back now and there's a lot of reasons for that, right? I was working and I was young and I was whatever. And frankly too, I got to be honest, there was probably a lot of fear, right? If I put it out there, right now the dream's alive, if I put it out there and it doesn't go well, whatever. So it wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s that I went back to school for film, and I made some cool stuff, but none of it was really professional. And then I made a comic in 2019 called Hardbody. I don't think I shared that one with you, but it was a cool concept. But I only did one to kind of learn the process. All this time, Fisticuffs was sitting in my computer. It was really dear to me, and I just.
But when you did Hardbody, talk about building that team, though.
Yeah.
You said the first story, right? So how did you know how to navigate? Because again, you're going from fan, and you say you were hiding your stuff, and all of a sudden you decided to dive in. So again, what steps did you take to navigate? How did you find your artists? And what era was this?
Sure, this was 2019, 2018 or 2019. I forget. Yeah, it was 2018. Because it came out in 2019. So 2018, I started putting the team together. And I worked with an artist called Savvy. Stop it. So, yeah, that's good old Parker for you. He's an attention hound, if you were wondering his breed. He's an attention hound. So I found Savvy Lim. That was his name. Just through doing the deep dive on Facebook and DeviantArt. I just did a deep dive looking for somebody, that kind of had the style that I wanted, because that was more over the top comics, right? It was more like Rob Liefeld, more like 90s, bodybuilding, hulking dudes and stuff. So I wanted to kind of, overemphasize style. And I remember he did a Ninja Turtles that it was just it was a Ninja Turtle sketch that just had the right look, the right aesthetic. They were like, you know, it just looked exactly what I was going for. So I cold called, reached out, you know, and I was just like, you know, I'm interested. Like, how do we do it? And I really didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of followed his lead, and I was like, you know, what does this cost? He let me know. I figured it out. And then step by step, he helped me add people to the team. Like, he helped me add the inker, Victor Moya. And then through that, we found the colorist, Martin Hernandez, and then so forth. So the team built that way. And Hardbody, you know, I plans to, you know, kind of get it out there. And I had some stuff happen in my personal life, and it just did not catch the world on fire the way it did. Some nice reviews, some nice things, but, you know, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I pivoted to do some other stuff. I was going to do a film in the beginning of 2020. I had written a horror film that I'd wanted to get off the ground for a long time. I even had somebody attached that was going to be in it who kind of went on to become, you know, a little famous in the time since then. A lot famous, actually. You watch pro wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only actual star that AEW has built since they started.
Okay.
Do you know who it is?
I can't. No, I'm not really sure. I'm thinking there's a couple of names out there, but
Who's the biggest star that they built since then? He's become a champion.
This dude. What's his name? I'm sorry, I'm bugging.
All right. It's Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Okay.
I reached out to him. He was still doing indie bookings, and he had a thing. So I reached out to MJF, and he was.
Imagine.
He was. I know he would have and it was a scene where it was a horror scene. So he died, and it was an awesome death. So it probably would have been something that his haters would have really enjoyed, and it would have been a lot of things. And he was really cool about it. The first thing he asked me, he's like, "Could you film it in plain view?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can." So he was going.
All you want if you're saying yes.
Yeah, if you say yes, I'll film it in your bathroom, dude. We'll show up with the cameras. We'll do it there. But no, we were in talks to do it, and he was taking the script to AEW, and then COVID happened. So yeah, COVID. It never happened. Yep, COVID, and who knows? They might have said no. He might have whatever. You never know. But that would have been really cool because I'm a huge fan of his work. He's phenomenal. And he would have been.
It's still gonna happen. It's still gonna happen.
I just want to meet him one day and be like, "You remember me?" And see whatever. Because even now, I even think about sending him this comic once in a while and just see what he says. Because the worst thing the worst thing happens. He cuts a heel promo on me, and I would frame it. You suck in your books. I'd be like, from MJF, hell yeah, dude, put it on my wall. But
promo was good promo, baby.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's gonna love this book if he gets his hands on this book.
I hope so. But to get to this book, how I found the team, because you did what you did with the last one. Did you learn any lessons though in that particular project that you brought along and said they may not do those mistakes here? Because this everything. I mean, there's a lot I did wrong on that first time, and I'll go through and laundry list. It's funny. This was what my first newsletter I wrote about this. A comic book creator in a Discord was like, "What's the number one mistake you made in your first comic book?" And I didn't think too much of it, and I just wrote, "Too many dicks."
Ha!
And it's a true story. In Hardbody, it's a gym-centric show, and I wrote one scene where he's in the locker room and he's in the showers, and there's a bunch of big dudes, and I think the line is something he was like a sad hobbit in the presence of glorious elves. And, I wrote that there could be nudity in it. 'Cause I worked in a gym at the time. My best conversations happened when people were in the nude. People would just stop me in the locker room and start talking to me full naked and like it was nothing. So I just got used to it. I was like, okay, yeah. But anyway, so I put that scene in, and the artist just kept drawing them. And after a few, I didn't think anything wrong with it. And I still don't. I still think it looks great. But the only problem was some people, when they reviewed it, tended to mention the dicks first and the story second. So I'm not, against it and stuff, but there's a ratio, there's a sweet spot. And I think 7 dicks in 24 pages violates the sweet spot. 4 dicks probably would have been plenty. But
and how many pages? Like every third page or some shit overall.
Well, there's it's a lot, but it's not. Again,
that was a comment because look, I love my women-in-law, but I don't see dudes making that commentary about how many titties were in the first X amount of pages because there's a lot of books like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is except for what it is, dudes and ladies. That's all.
Well, that was part of why
we all have these things. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, it's nature. that was part of the story, right? Like I kind of wanted to make like a story about male insecurities and their bodies and stuff, like from our point of view, kind of the way that like you get like women point of view, like. By the way, Mark,
I gotta read that. Send me that fucking book. I want to read.
Absolutely, and I plan to like reboot that. That's actually it's like written for like a 4-issue miniseries when Fisticuffs is done. Like it's expanded and it's grown since then. But I would love to do that. But it's again, I get on tangents. Back to Fisticuffs. Like I just decided I was like I've got this script and it's like first of all, comic was ideal because of COVID, but I just began to feel like confident enough that like I could tackle this story because it was like this one was like dear to me. Like I really felt like this was like special. So I start looking around and on the internet and I'm like making like lists on my phone over and over again about like different artists. And I'm doing this like every day. And every time I did a list, Staniak just kept coming to the top. I loved his art. And if you guys aren't familiar with him, you should be, because he's like, I think he's got the brightest future, man. He does like, when he does like, he gets tons of views and stuff when he does like more established characters and stuff.
We're gonna get a little tease, baby. Don't you worry. You're gonna get a little tease on that art. All right, but keep talking.
Okay.
Tease them.
Yes, but he got a lot of success. He was doing a lot of very popular variant covers for The Last Ronin, the Ninja Turtle story. So if you look up his art on those, again, I think Robert was his colorist too. They look phenomenal. But I was like nervous about reaching out to him because, as there's a scene or two in Fisticuffs that people might think you're a little weird if they don't know you yet. Yeah. So I'm sitting around and I'm like, yeah, this guy's my number one choice, but I don't want him to, say no to me, because then I'm going to really feel like nobody, like the stinky kid in class that nobody wants to play with. And that's going to, F up my confidence. So I kept like looking at his page every once in a while. And one day he made a post of George Carlin's. And me, like George Carlin is like my ultimate hero. I look up to him, above anybody else. And I kind of saw that as like,
man, could you imagine the comedy sketches he would have been doing today should he have been alive? Oh my, the shit we would have heard, the real talk.
Yes, and he was the best at it because not only did he have the delivery down, but he would like hone his material until it was like perfect. And it's funny too. You say that,
Fred, as a 6-year-old kid, for some odd reason, my parents happened to have had a George Carlin comedy record. And one day they weren't home, and and I had, so in the middle of the record, and I saw this, and I saw it was laced with curse words. Like, I said, okay, they're not here. Let me play this. I never laughed so hard in my life. I didn't understand most of the jokes, but they just sounded so funny. I was like, holy shit, I forgot which record it was, and if I see the cover, I remember, but I need that in my life. So yeah, George Carlin.
They're all amazing.
Part of my life, dude.
They're all amazing. And it's funny you say, like, imagine the comedy he would be doing today. Play his bits today, and they're still exactly, they're exactly applicable. Like, when he talks about reproductive rights and all that stuff, like they are, he was ahead of his time, It's, and again, another fun hypothetical I like to talk about, like with my buddies, the two people that I would like to bring back if I could like hang out with for a day. Not, of course, talking about like family members and stuff that have passed on and stuff. But I think George Carlin, would be fun, but I think he would be like really disappointed. I also think Rod Serling would be a lot of fun from the Twilight Zone. Because he was really.
Are we living in that right now?
We absolutely are, man. And he was really into all the shit that was going on now. I just feel like if you sat him in a room and gave him nothing but an iPhone to play with, he would be like having the time of his life, man. Like,
oh my gosh, yes. And imagine giving him the ability to talk to a ChatGPT or a Siri or an Alexa. You know? His mind would have been blown, son.
Oh God!
He would have been smoking more than 2 packs. Holy shit! You know, I mean, rest in peace. Another one. So,
another great one.
Get this baby up, man. Cause we talking all this stuff and teasing. Yo, bro. I want you to tell the folks right now, as if we are in a comic book convention right now, Mr. Fred Schwartz, I'm gonna put you up on top over here, right?
Okay.
If I came up to you and I'm like, yo, give me the elevator pitch of this baby, Fisticuffs. What's the pitch?
It's about a functional drunk whose comfortable life is derailed when a one-night stand has deadly consequences. Now, in terms of what it's comparable to, it's in the vein of stories like The Boys and Preacher, and like it's a spectacularly hard R rating, maybe even beyond. So it's not safe for everyone. Trigger warning is advised, but it is raunchy. It is funny. It is darkly funny. It is definitely action-packed, but at its core, it's like a real emotional story. It's most importantly a character-driven story. And I don't want to get too like, preachy, or I don't know what the word is, whatever. But it's like a topiary, right? Like each time you read an issue, like something happens and changes. And like I just really want to get this story all the way done, because once you guys get to issue 6 and you're able to see the whole thing put together, that's when you're really going to understand it and hopefully reread it and enjoy the thing over and over again. Because I put a lot in this, and I really think, I think it's a special story that is, at the very least, if you're in, going to make you laugh your ass off and have a blast.
Well, yeah, let me tell you, I'm reading this. Fisticuffs. I wasn't sure where I was going with this. So all right, I went in, right before our podcast. It's kind of like I like to do. I like things to be kept fresh in my brain, And so I said, all right, an hour before, I said, let me sit down. Let me read these songs right here. Oh my God, I'm reading. I'm like, all right, shit is moving along. And I'm like, all right, slice of life story. I'm thinking this is such an innocent book, people. I swear to God, I thought it was an innocent book of a guy just trying to heal himself. I said, interesting, I'm going through a journey. So yeah, so I'm in. And then something happens in this. Let me tell you, I think that Fred has the single best introduction of a power in the most fucked up way I've ever seen in my entire life as a comic book fan. When I saw how his power got introduced, I was like, ooh. I mean, listen, if it was a movie, I was telling him in the green room, if it was a movie, I would have rewound this shit. Like, what the hell? It was one of those moments like, yo, no, what the heck is going on here, son?
Can I use that as a pull quote, that a bit about because that's what I wanted. So thank you so much, man. Like that's the effect. That's the effect that I wanted this book to have. Like I want
me up, bro, Fred. I was like, yo, it reminded me of an old school manga movie. Kind of, everybody said Urusa Kodoji of A Legend of the Overfiend. There was a certain scene when a demon woke up. But this kind of reminded me of that scene when that demon woke up. I was like, yo, what the? And again, just to how the story moved on, and it leaves you you feel the character's journey so well written there, because he's lost, you're lost, and you continue down the story, and you really do connect with him. So what a wonderful way to connect with the characters. Like, all right, we're both on a journey here. A great job on the writing. And not just that, I mean, folks, you see that on the screen, but I'm telling you, look at this cover, yo. Look at this stuff. This is some wild shit, I'm telling you. Again, for Fred, great job. I definitely recommend that. Once this gets launched, folks, make it happen. Trust me. Definitely Comic Crusaders. I'll mega approve on this motherfucker. I want to know more. I got to see more, because this was just a fire read, and it kept me hooked. And then even the ending of part 2, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Wait a minute. So again, I love it. So tell me where your brain is going at with all this. In
what way? Where do you want to begin?
I mean, again, this story is wild, man. And even how you even thought of such a crazy intro. I mean, let's not spill too much.
Yeah,
but how did you think of such a crazy intro to someone's power? What was your mind at?
yeah. It's well, you know, my friend one time we went out like a little it's like a little dinner date, and you know, we were hanging out, and I said something to her, and she was like, "Your mind is like a fun place to visit." Or she said something about like wanting to spend a day in my mind, and I said it's like a fun place to visit, but you know, being here full time is taxing. But yeah, as far as that scene, you know, people think it's like it came very naturally to me to put all those things together, and I'll it's hard to like, you know, tiptoe around it without actually spilling the beans, and I don't want to spill the beans. But you know who was actually a big influence on that is our boy Stan Lee. And so yeah, I know you're like,
oh, I can't wait till people see this scene and then remember this line.
You guys can blame Stan Lee, okay? And I'll tell you exactly why. And you probably, because you're a fan, you may remember this. Do you remember the old Pizza Hut VHS X-Men tapes that we got when we were kids?
Okay.
You remember those?
Yeah, I do actually. Yes, I do.
And do you remember they had a little, and you can find this on YouTube now, they have a little Creator's Choice video at the beginning, right? About, you know, about the history of the X-Men. And in that video, if you're paying attention, Stan Lee gives a lot of insight into like what makes a power good, right? The idea that it's a blessing, but it's a curse, right? The idea that it's something that while you're proud of it and whatever, while it's active or useful to you, it's a labor and it's a thing to have a normal life in spite of that, right? So for this character, like I said in the pitch, he lives a very comfortable, low stakes life. His favorite thing to do is get through his obligation, whatever it is, job, work, court-ordered AA meeting, so he can get done that and then go right to the bar and start having fun. His fun is when he can let go and whatever. And the idea to give him an ability or something that he has to be prescient for and present for, and he can't let go because if he ever makes a mistake, he's going to out himself or hurt somebody or something's going to go wrong. That came from Stan Lee.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I read there. Again, I'm trying to listen, you know, you know, alcohol is bad. Yeah, don't pay mind to what I'm doing, folks.
No problem. No problem.
And you know, it's just yeah, I understood that journey. You know, again, what was funny, I told her also in the agreement, you know, I know I gotta do better, and yo, you made me feel guilty. And homies and special meetings, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Buddy,
maybe you're here to give me a message too, homie. I love it. So,
well, no, I'm going to tell you when we're doing this for book 6, you're going to be drinking a Kool-Aid instead of the Natty Ice. You're going to feel really guilty. But
all right, but I'd rather have some Kool-Aid then. Let's go.
No, I'm just kidding, man. No,
I'm gonna break through the wall though when it happens. Don't fuck with me. All right, but again, who did this cover? Is that your big homie right there?
That one's Boyan Kazlov is his name. I again just trusty old Instagram, keeping my eyes peeled on artists and people that would. And I think you saw the other cover for book 2, right? The not safe for work version. So with the variant cover, I wanted something kind of against type, you know, like that one is very like vulgar and gritty, right, and real. So I wanted to do something that kind of was a little more like artsy and abstract, maybe, but like still caught that emotional chaos of what he's going through at that moment in that scene. So I think, I mean, that's going to be a T-shirt in our campaign. Actually, that image.
Oh, thank you. I was about to say, you better put this perfect on a nice white T-shirt.
Hell yeah, that's the plan.
I think only really on white. The colors, you know, you don't want to match too much since it's colorful. On a white tee or a white hoodie, heck yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, you're right. But yeah, I would
look at that art though by your boy. That's your boy right there, right?
That's Staniak, man, and he's phenomenal. Like he's so good at everything really. I mean, I really love his art, but I've described him, and I don't know if this is flattering or not, but I describe him as like a naughty Jim Lee, right? He's got those very like nice forms, and he can do like the very pristine, pretty art, but he's also got like a messy punk style. It's like, you know, it's like Jim Lee trying to be, you know, ornery or whatever. So that's kind of how I describe it.
And who does the coloring? Cause fuck, bro.
Robert Nugent, who's so damn talented, man. He's actually doing a lot of the Spawn titles right now. Like he's about to be doing the colors on Gail Simone's She Spawn. And
oh my God, Papa, how the fuck is that homie?
Yeah, and it couldn't be more deserved of a more talented, nicer dude. Like one of the nicest people I've met in the industry. And then everybody else on the team's been amazing too, but Dave Sharp as well. Like, you know, lettering. He's the letter and logo, and like it's such an underappreciated like art, and it's almost like
I don't give a fuck. You know, listen, without letterers, we ain't reading the book, right?
Yeah, it's
like, you know, it's a craft, and some of them like really work hard and actually own some of those fonts that they bring that are unique to the book, man. Let me tell you, like letterers are bosses, so you know, much love to our letterers, our colorers, our flatterers, our every part of the darn book, because it takes a village to make something beautiful. I mean, look at this right here. Look at this scenery right here. That coloring, that artistry. And I mean, it just says a lot there. Like, you know, now you want to know like, what the fuck's going on with his fist, right? Right, folks? Aren't you asking? I'm sure you are. Like, okay, what the hell? Fisticuffs, I'm telling you, you have no. Listen, again, when you first see his powers develop, how it happens is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my fucking comic book fucking reading life. So, yeah.
Stan kills that scene too, by the way. Like, the way he draws it is like.
Yeah, I was like that.
Like chef's kiss.
I felt like I was him. Fred, I felt like I was him. Oh shit, what the hell just happened, son?
And thank you, because that's the best compliment, man. That's what I wanted, was to like, you know, connect the reader to the character. Because like
that was my look right here. You see that those eyes there? Mine's are not blue, but mine's definitely look like that when I saw that. You fucked me up, Fred.
Dude.
I'm telling you, bro. I never see no shit like that. Again, that's why I love comics and I love my indie people, because y'all really do come out with shit out of left field. Like,
thank you.
Wow, y'all really think out there. Y'all really get vested. And again, it's your baby. No one's gonna stop you from telling your story. You know what I mean? So, and it's tastefully done. And again, you ask questions, and then you go to the next issue, and you know. You're still trying to find out what the fuck is going on, and shit gets even crazier.
Yeah, thank you. That's the goal, man. It's like it's meant to be kind of like again, character driven, right? Like we spend it in like his mindset, how he processes things, and like how he like focuses, so that like hopefully, especially when we get to like the later issues and stuff. Well, I don't want to give away too much and stuff, but like hopefully it's like a journey that like people can like relate to, right? Like it's certainly something like, again, going back to like Born Again and stuff like that. I just wanted to do a story that like the ones like when I went through hard times in my life and I felt like I was down or needed to reset or whatever the case may be, like that story was always there for me. So I'm just hoping that maybe this story, in addition to, like you said, just blowing your hair back and just entertaining the hell out of you, also something that people like go to, you know, like something they care about, you know. That'd be the dream.
What we need, man, in comics. We want to be entertained. We don't want to be preached to. We just want to read some cool comics, crazy stories that are wild, you know. And again, I'm telling you, my man gonna throw you for a curve. I thought this was a slice of life until it wasn't. so again, you want to use that one, use that too. So
I thought it was a slice of life until it wasn't. I like that a lot.
You know, yeah, because I ain't the fuck. Yeah, and then look at this right here. Again, look at this art, yo. The way that the homie emotes, what great artistry. The coloring again just fucking pops. And you know, that video, Fisticuffs, brings a raw and visceral style of storytelling designed to assault and entertain your senses. Yes, it does. And then Orange Cone Productions, Travis Gibb. I know Big Travis right there. This is the book that I wish I could have made as my first. It shows a great respect for the craft with great art. As 100 agreed. Again, look at this. Oh, oh my God, Bendito. Bless. And there goes that cover right there. Beautiful. I mean, again, folks, this is coming real soon. All you got to do is go to the Kickstarter page. I'm showing you below. It's also in the show notes, all right? It's notified on launch. Now, what's the plan, Papi? What are we talking about here? When is this getting to launch so we can make it rain on this like we're at a strip club?
Wow. Like, I feel like, yeah, I mean, that's appropriate for like the book and for like, you know, the conversation we had here. March 4th, we're going to launch it on Kickstarter. It's going to be a 4-week campaign, and hopefully we're going to get funded, and we're going to move on to a few months later.
No. When we get funded, these are the words manifest.
Yes. And I'm sorry, you know, I'm new to this. So when we get funded, we're going to do a campaign for book 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 is a double-sized finale. And man, is it ever. Books 1 through 6 are drawn all the way. Stan completed work on that. We just need to color and letter and print, produce, and get them out to you. So I am going.
Yes, folks, you won't wait 15 years like I have for Rob Liefeld's Brigade number 1. You won't.
I'm itching to go because I just like this has been so much fun right now today with you. I just want to keep talking about this book and just keep. I wish I had more to share and discuss with you right now. I wish I could hand you 3 right now.
I know, and I know you can, because I would love to talk about it. Because again, let me tell you, I'm loving it. I'm excited.
Thank you, Al.
Big fan, folks. Listen, this is how easy you can stay in tune with what's popping within. You know what I mean? The Schwartz verse over here. You know what I mean? The Schwartz type shit over here. Right? Check it out.
And also with you.
And I love it. Check out the website at schwartzart-llc.com. You know, stay tuned there. Follow him on social, on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok at Schwartz Art LLC. Now, also, guess what you can do? You can follow the story and about the book and the characters. They also have their own Facebook and Instagram. So that's fisticuffs.comic book. Make sure to check that out. But the most important link today is for you to, you know, get on that pre-launch button, get notified on launch. You heard him, a 4-week campaign. That means all y'all getting paid at least once in one of those 4 weeks. So you're gonna make it rain on this great project, and you want to support. You see what Diamond is doing to independence right now, right? It's gonna be tough. I mean, it's not the end of Diamond; it's a restructuring. But while this restructuring is going on, it's gonna hurt certain publishers, independent creators. So guess what? There's a great way to support independent creators that, you know, are able to distribute through platforms like this. You know, keep it indie, baby. So make sure to support the Kickstarter right there. Project Schwartz Art, Fisticuffs, books 1 and 2 of 6, baby, is going to be going live. Like we said, in March. That's what it is. Yo, Fred, any last words based on your journey thus far, man? Any last words for those creators out there trying to step into the game like you have?
Yeah, keep going. It ups, downs, self-doubts, all that stuff happens. On my Substack today, I actually, in my newsletter, put out 4 documentaries that I turn to when I like question myself or despair and stuff like that. Just keep finding the inspiration, keep pushing yourself, because once you start getting stuff out, it is so worth it. Today, having this conversation with Al, seeing his response, it's why it's all I wanted, you know, from this book and this project. So stay true to yourself, stay true to your art, and be you, and eventually it'll hit. Somebody will get you for being you.
And I definitely get it. I mean, maybe it's because I'm also from New York, so I get the humor. My homie from Jersey, my neighbor.
Yes, sir.
So you know what I mean? So I get the humor in the book. And again, he really threw me off. And again, there's, you know, again, a surprise. I love that. Those are the type of things I want to see, you know, within these indie comics. Yeah. Again, Fisticuffs, folks, if you want to get kind of like, whoa, shit, what's going on? Yeah, this is definitely going to be a book for you. So again, seal of approval here. Support the project. One last time, I'll show you that link is that Kickstarter right there. Fisticuffs books 1 and 2 of 6. Going to be going live in March. So, you know, again, we're not even there yet. So that means you're supposed to save money. Don't give me no bullshit, guys. My Crusaders, show the love for indie, all right? The socials are also all below. You know what it is. So, Fred, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Al.
To my Crusaders that tuned in, thank you. I see you. You guys rock. I appreciate your time to view and show the love and support. You know what it is. Hasta la próxima, mi gente.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.